Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is I Rant Too with Xavian D, a podcast where we dive into real life issues, where we share inspiring stories, and where we talk about life, culture, and everything in between. I'm your host, Xavian D, and whether you're tuning in at your commute, you're at your job, you're at work, you're at your home by yourself with somebody else, look, I just thank you for tuning in. In each episode, we're going to dive into some personal growth topics. We're going to dive into some cultural topics. We're going to dive into these things, and we're going to have a little fun with it too. And this season, we also have a few expert guests to talk about their experiences and to provide their unique background on things. Look, if you're watching on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to go ahead and give me that like in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you know when we're dropping new content. And of course, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at I Rant Too with Xavian D. Look, let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. And don't ever forget this. They rant, you rant, but I rant too. All right, and look, we back at it again. Look, you already know what it is. This is Xavian D. and this is I Rant Too with your boy, Xavian D. Welcome back for season 2. Y'all, I wish I could tell you everything that's done happened in the in-between. And that's exactly what this episode is right here. We're going to do some catch up with one another. You're going to talk to me. I'm going to talk to you. We're going to do all of this right here with one another. But look, I already said it in the intro. Make sure you're following us on social media. I Rant Too with Xavian D. Making sure you're hitting that like button, hit that share button, hit the subscribe button, making sure that you're doing what you need to do to help other people get in on what we're getting in on this season. I'm telling you, I got some great stuff planned out. But let's pause for a second. I think the last time I released an episode, we're looking at about maybe November, October of 2023. Here we are in August of 2024. And we need to do some catch up. We need to do some catch up because 2024, it came in with some changes. I wish I was lying to you. But 2024 truly came in with some changes for me. It came in with some changes for some people around me. It just was filled with change, right? So let me catch you up a little bit, right? So last year, I'm working as a sales voyager, working from home, my hometown, Natchez, Mississippi. Yo, what's going on? 601. Yeah, what's good? But working from home and everything like that. And, you know, I knew it was time for a change. I knew I wanted to change. I'm ready to leave my parents' house, things like that. So now, I don't know what possessed me to like, okay, yeah, I grew up in hot old Mississippi. Let me go more, let me go down south, more than that. And let me transition to New Orleans, Louisiana. So that's where I am now. I'm here in New Orleans, Louisiana, working at a hotel, assistant manager or whatever like that. I love it. Love the people I work with. Love the work that I'm doing. I mean, it's just amazing. It's 10 out of 10. I'm not going to hold you. Now, some situations might be a little crazy. But one thing I always tell people, and we're going to get into this a little bit later on in the episode, but one thing I always tell people, they'll ask the question, of course, how are you? And I'll respond and I say, I'm amazing. And they say, what? You amazing? I say, yes, ma'am, I'm amazing. I'm amazing because God is amazing, not because my circumstances are always amazing. But I am not what my circumstances are. I am who God says I am. Watch this. I'm coming into, like I said, we're going to talk about it later on in the episode, but you need to learn how to develop a good attitude. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later, but developing a good attitude. So doing all this, got my first apartment here, starting about maybe in March. So I'm technically staying in Metairie, but right outside of New Orleans or whatever. So those life updates there. And if you've been keeping up with me, you know that in January, I released an eBook. You're going to see an ad about that later on in the episode about how to, invoke real good change in your life, right? We want some effective, efficient change that could happen in our lives. Because, if you were just like me last year, you felt like, you were just going around in a constant cycle. Have you ever been in that situation, that season where you feel like I'm producing, I'm putting things out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I still feel stuck? Have you ever just like been producing from a desolate place? That's a crazy way to feel, right? Because it's like, okay, I know I'm producing, I know I'm putting out, but it just doesn't feel like it's my best. It doesn't feel like it's the best that I can do. And so, that's where I was like, okay, I kid you not, I know it's real churchy. It's real churchy. But God, I'm sitting in the room one day at my parents' house, sitting in my room. God tapped me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, go ahead and write that book." And I was like, "You know what? Okay." And I ended up writing the book, and it's just a little small ebook, not long at all. But we'll talk about that later on in the episode, just how you can get, where you can find that at, all that good stuff. Okay. But yeah, so I released an ebook in the beginning of the year, and I kid you not. Oftentimes if you're in the creative mindset or you're in the entrepreneurial mindset, you'll realize half of the time the things that you put out, you produce, especially if you do music, art, you're a writer, you're an author or whatever like that, or, you do content, create content or whatever. The things that you do will oftentimes come to minister to you first. Okay, I'm trying not to be churchy, right? Let me not use the word minister because people might not understand what that means. It'll come and direct itself towards you first. Have you ever had that situation where the advice you're trying to give somebody else, it shows up to you first and convicts you first before it ever goes to anyone else? That was the same thing that happened in my ebook. My ebook talked about change, and we're going to do an episode about that coming up here soon or whatever like that. But, talking about change, and we're talking about how to make yourself uncomfortable or be made uncomfortable, right? We're talking about how to draw the pathways and the lines and making sure that you actually decide what needs to change, what doesn't need to change, and just making sure that you're actually putting in the work to do what you need to do. All of these things hit my life. I was made uncomfortable. I was having to establish places in my life where I need to make the changes, where I don't need to make the changes. I had moments where I didn't want to be positive, but I knew positivity was going to be beneficial to me and not pessimism, right? I knew that I just had to put in the work. And so all of this stuff hit me first. And I mean, when I say the first 2 quarters of my year between January and when is the last quarter end? January to June, I promise you, it was just like life flipped upside down in the best way possible, though. In the best way possible, right? Some things happen, I don't have to talk about everything. But if you've been following me, you know, certain things happen. Certain people left, certain people, not here anymore that were here. Everything just kind of looks a little bit different. And so I'm just excited to see where the rest of this year goes, especially with this podcast, especially with people around me, and just seeing what God does, right? And I'll say this. I don't mean to offend anybody with their religion. I really don't. I really don't mean to offend anyone. But there is just no possible way to tell my story without telling his story too. Let me repeat that, because some people think that it's me being overly facetious or it's me being, obnoxious or anything like that. But there is no possible way for me to tell my story, my life story, the things that I've been through, the things that I've accomplished, any of those things. It's impossible for me to tell my story without telling Jesus' story as well. Because like the song says, he's just simply rescued my life, right? Anything that I have, my righteousness was as filthy rags, all that good stuff, right? It meant nothing unless he came and made it good, right? So that's just kind of where I've been at, right? That's exactly what I've been at. So and I told you I will talk about this, and let's dive into it right here. One thing that I've been seeing so much lately, and I hate that it's the culture now. I hate this kind of pathway the last I'm not even gonna say 20, maybe about 10 to 15 years. I hate the trend of things in certain aspects. And this is what I mean. I hate the trend where pessimism is more attractive than optimism. It's whether it's concerning the future, whether it's concerning the next thing in your life, whether it's concerning your present situation. I'm just not of the same cloth to always complain. I'm not of the same cloth to always be down and out. I'm just not of that cloth, and don't get me wrong. If you are, you should develop and seek some change in your life. Sorry. But I'm just not of that same, mindset that me complaining is going to make things change. Where they do that at? Be for real. Where they do that at? Huh? Where is it where complaining and me being always ungrateful? Where is it that is a culture where things are thriving and that's a culture where things are, progressing? When I say no, I mean no. There is no great progress and change that comes from complaining. Now, let's not at all. And I'm not trying to speak against anybody who makes their voice known. That's a completely different thing. And you can even express your opinions without complaining, right? But people who always complain have a pessimistic mindset. Y'all know y'all got that one friend. Here we go. Look, I'm exposing you. We all have that one friend. We know when they call our phone, here we go. Let me prepare myself. Let me prepare my mind because I know they about to get on the phone and it's about to be a lot. And there is not going to be one positive thing that spouts from their mouth. That is crazy to think. And don't get me wrong, I understand. Promise me. I understand. Without giving too much information, I kid you not. Right now, if you can see my bank account, look, you would be like, Xavian, how are you keeping a smile on your face? Hey, it is what it is. God be praised. I have things in place, and I know why I might not have it at the moment. Things are getting in place. So I wanted to say this, though. But so you had that one friend, they're going through things. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, everybody's going through things. A lot of things are going on in the world. Inflation is still high. It's an election year. Things are going on. Somebody baby daddy beating on them. Somebody baby mama not letting them see their child. It's a lot of stuff going on. Don't get me wrong. But for your mindset to always be pessimism, it's going to make things worse. I kid you not. It's going to make things worse. I remember growing up, maybe let's just say my mom or my dad, my grandparents, anybody, whoever was feeding me, they would cook something that I didn't necessarily like. And you know what they would say? Growing up in a black household, here we go. You know what they would say? They were like, well, you better pretend like it tastes like pizza and you better eat it on up. And then, and as funny as it is, there is a grace for areas like that where you're able to think in your mind because, here we go. I promise you, I really am not trying to be churchy or anything like that. But so as a man thinketh, so is he. So is a man thinking of in the heart. So is he. Watch this. If I think hard enough about these situations, yes, it might not be the best. But yes, I'm going to still praise God in the midst of it. Yes, it might not be the best. But yes, I'm going to keep my head held high. I'm going to have a great attitude. I'm going to do these things that produce. I know that if I sow these seeds of a smile, I know if I sow seeds of getting to work on time. All right, let me nudge on some of y'all. If I sow the seeds of doing these things that produce great things, I know it's going to produce great things. Okay, I kind of repeated myself sort of right there. But yeah, if I sow the seeds, if I sow good seeds, I know I will get a good harvest. If I sow good seeds, I know I'll get a good harvest. One more time, if I sow good seeds, I know that I'll get a good harvest. Watch this though. The only way you get a good harvest from a good seed is if you have patience while it grows. I kid you not. I did not mean to go there. I did put on the shirt. Don't get me wrong. It was not playing. It's just kind of how the conversation is going. And y'all know I'll get to ranting real good. But watch this. I really want you to understand this. Pessimism is like a weed, okay? It comes in and it's so easy to get there. Like I've never seen somebody plant a weed seed, but somehow in some way they always show up. And they show up in mass, right? It's not just one weed. One weed wants to grow into a bunch of different things, right? So you never see somebody sowing the seeds, but you do see the weed actually showing up, and it kind of spreads, and you got to go in and you got to pluck them up out the ground. My dad and my mom, my grandparents, they love gardening, and they have a green thumb, something that they did not pass down to me. Glory to God. Don't get me wrong. I grew up in the country, but one thing I just really don't care for, I just really don't care for all the flowers and stuff like that. It is what it is. But what I'm saying is, when you sow seeds of pessimism, it does nothing but want to overtake. And it has no benefit. You are not getting any fruit from a weed. You're not getting anything from those weeds. They're just there to divide and conquer. They're there to overtake you, right? That's all it's there for. But when you sow good seeds, seeds of optimism, seeds of saying, hey, I don't even understand how this is going to work out just yet. And let me talk about that right quick. We need to learn. I'm talking to my generation right here. I'm talking about, between, let's just say, between 18 and 25. I'm talking to us right now. Them other old people, they should have it together. They should have it together. But let me talk to us right now. One thing that you need to learn how to do is learn to develop standards and fundamentals that no matter what season of life you're going in, that's going to be a go-to for you. Let's just say, all right, here we go. I'm going to talk about some bad habits. When I was in college, I knew people, and I knew certain moments where I got like this, where I could not go to sleep, I could not go to sleep unless I smoked a blunt, half a blunt, smoked a half black, half blunt. I knew it was nights where I just could not go to sleep unless I sipped on me a little Jack, unless I had me, some of that Taylor Port. I knew it was moments like that, and that would be through if I had a good day, I couldn't go to sleep without it. If I had a bad day, I definitely couldn't go to sleep without it. So if we develop actually good habits, what could actually happen then? If we develop good habits towards, okay, hey, I cannot wake up today, I cannot do anything in my day without first declaring goodness over my day. What if you start doing that? What if you say, before I go to sleep every night, I don't want to go to sleep until I thank God for one thing that happened in my life today, because I want to maintain a spirit of gratefulness towards God no matter what's going on in my life. What if you develop good habits that, okay, I know I might not have it all the time, but once a month, I want to be able to go out, even if it's $5, even if it's $10, even if it's a sandwich. I want to go out and give to the poor, the homeless. I want to do something to give goodness, not just declare things. Like, I know people are very, very big on declarations now and all of these different kind of things, but let's put it to action too. What is something that you could do? And let's just say it doesn't even have to cost much, but let's just make sure our spirits are aligned and making sure that they are aligned correctly with what those optimistic ways are. Keeping that positive mindset, I'm telling you, it keeps you on top. A positive mindset. I won't go into details, but about a month or so ago, I went through a little situation on my job, and I could have easily acted out. I could have easily been like, oh, I was ready to. I was upset, mad. I was confused. But did I let it stop me from saying, okay, I understand, smile on my face, it is what it is, I understand, it's just the policy, I understand. Did I stop it did I develop a bad attitude? No. I kept the same routine that I normally keep, which is somebody asks me, how are you doing? I'm amazing. And I'll say it again, I'm amazing because God is amazing. Not because my situations are always amazing, but I am not what my situations are, right? Develop that mindset. I am not what my situations are. I am not what my situations are. One more time. I am not what my situations are. You cannot allow yourself to be so, let it get in you. I was having a conversation the other day with a great young lady, and I was having a conversation with her, and we were talking about something, and I said, well, I want you to keep in your mind that you are not what you're going through. That feeling that you're feeling, it's only a clothing that you're putting on. And she was like, what do you mean by that? I said, you have to keep that mindset that what I'm currently going through, what I'm currently experiencing, what I'm currently facing, it is not in any way, form, or fashion in me, but it's something that might be temporarily on me. I put on clothes every day. Okay, yeah. I put on clothes every day. The clothes are not me. The clothes are just something that I put on. Okay, you'll catch that tomorrow. You'll catch that tomorrow. This situation that I'm going through, it's temporary. It is temporary. What does temporary mean? It won't last for long. It won't last for long. So this is why we have optimistic mindsets. This is why we keep in that same era of, I'm going to be optimistic. And I have another podcast. Make sure you go check out this podcast too, Y and Z The Divide, where I sit on there with the millennial. You know how those millennials are. I'm a Gen Zer. But those millennials, and Jesus, God help them, they think they're the best thing since sliced bread. But I sit on that podcast, and we often talk about how back in the day, like let's just say the 70s, the 80s, the 90s especially, they were excited about the future. They were optimistic about what the future would hold. And then if you ask people nowadays, how do you feel about the future? It's more of a pessimistic mindset. It's very filled with concern. It's eerie desire. So I really want to hone in on that fact that we most definitely need to tap into keeping an optimistic mindset. What's up, everyone? It's Xavian D from I Rant Too with Xavian D. I hope you're all doing great today. Before we dive back into our conversation, I want to take a quick moment to talk about something I think you'll all really love. So you know how we're always chatting about making positive changes and improving our lives, right? Well, I've got something that can help you do just that. I'm talking about my new ebook, The X Agent: How to Invoke Change in Your Daily Life in 5 Steps. It's packed with practical steps to help you start making those changes you've been thinking about. And guess what? It's not just an ebook. When you grab the X Agent, you also get a daily transformation checklist and get the interactive journal. These tools are designed to help you stay on track and make these changes stick. It's like having a personal coach right there with you. But here's the kicker. Right now, we're running a special deal just for you, my awesome podcast listeners. For a limited time, you can get anything and everything at 15% off with the discount code I Rant Too. Just head over to xavianlewis.gumroad.com and use the code at checkout. Trust me, guys, this is more than just a book. It's a guide to transforming your life. And who doesn't want to level up, right? So take action today. Visit xavianlewis.gumroad.com. Use the code IRANT2 at checkout and receive your 15% discount. Let's get right back into our conversation. So let's hop right into our social media parts. And y'all know how I feel about my social media parts. I love being able to interact with my social media partners. Social media followers. I won't say partners just yet, right? But social media followers, because y'all just give like some of the best comments and stuff. And I'm super excited for this one because there's some nuggets and some gems in there. So let me repeat to you the question, and I'll put it up on the screen right here, something like that. It said, has your 2024 been going anything like you planned? Why or why not? Okay? Has your 2024 been going anything like you planned? Why or why not? I had 46% of the voters said yes. My 2024 has been going something like I planned. I had 54% of my voters say no. It's not been going how I planned. Okay, so somebody said yes, and this was their reasoning for their why or why not. They said, yes, I asked God to blow my mind in what he was going to do in my life, and he has. And that's a very interesting prayer to pray, right? God, blow my mind. God, do the unexpected, right? It's so amazing because it just gives space. It gives space for God to do the unexpected. Let me just stick this in right here for somebody. Give God space. Stop trying to box God into what he can do. I know you have your very specific and very thought out plans, but every now and then you should work that God blow my mind in your prayers, right? Because the Bible says what? He's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think, right? So we have to give him the space to do that. We have to give him the space of our faith and our trust in him for him to be able to do those kind of things, okay? Somebody said no. And this is the reason why. Relationship went downhill, and now looking for a better opportunity for me and my child. And that's just a very real statement. That's a very real statement, right? And, how do you even, and some people, like we were talking about earlier, how do I stay optimistic when things like that are happening in my life? My relationship is going downhill. I'm trying to find better opportunities. How do I remain optimistic in situations like that? You remain optimistic because you're still alive. And, even in that situation, right? Relationship went downhill, trying to find better opportunities for you and your child. It gets better. I promise you it does. It gets better. I don't know specifically about, you and your child. I don't have any children or anything like that. But relationship-wise, I promise you it gets better. You stick with it. You let things work out. You allow yourself to heal, and you allow that trauma to be done away with, and you keep pushing forward. I kid you not, it gets better. Someone said, no, it's not going like they planned because they could do better. Very, very interesting, right? Because I think oftentimes, especially in this current culture with how things are going on and stuff like that, there is little room for self-accountability. And I could talk about this for 50 minutes if I wanted to, but there is little room for self-accountability in this current day and age. And I'm unsure of where it came from, if I tried to backtrack or anything like that, but I know it's here now, and it's very distasteful to me. I mean, it's quite disgusting if you ask me, because a person who's not willing to say, hey, this is on me. Hey, things are not going the way I planned it to, and it's because it's me. I think we spend so much time pointing fingers at everybody else or anything else that could have provided that, negative impact, and not realizing that the bulk of the negative impact that is happening in our lives oftentimes is because of us. Okay, let me be churchy right quick. And I told you I hate to be churchy, but I'm going to be churchy right quick. A lot of times, I especially heard in church growing up, and sometimes you still hear from people now, they're like, oh, the devil just been trying me. Oh, the devil this. Oh, the devil that. First of all, the devil is not omnipresent. Please, come on now. He's not omnipresent. He's not dealing exactly with you. You got to be a mighty special person for the devil himself to be playing with you. Half of the time, it's you. It's you. It's your flesh. It's your desires. It's your things that are wrong with you. I'm not even going to say wrong because, like my pastor loves to say, there's probably not anything wrong. There's probably just something missing. There are missing spots in you that other areas of you are trying to compensate for, right? So it's not anything. So let's just be accountable. And I love that she said that I could do better. I can do better. I can do better. And even today, trying to record this episode, I told somebody, I was like, yeah, because that bed was about to facilitate my laziness for the day, but I had to let that bed, I had to tell that bed, you got to loose me. I got to do some stuff. I got to produce something great today in making this podcast episode. I told them I said, because if I would have kept laying in that bed would have been a facilitator for my laziness. And I knew that in that moment, I had to do better. There's one in here that's really, really good. But I'm going to save it for last. And I told him this about a month or so ago when he made it. Boy, it was so good to me. Somebody saying, no, it's not been going like my plan because 2024 is not normal. I will say this. 2024 is a very interesting year. It feels different, but I want to also say this. Any place in the future should feel different because it's a place we've never been to before. So saying that it's not normal, embrace that it's not normal. Figure out moments and times and seasons that you can probably relate to more. But as far as the future as a whole, don't try to normalize it because it's going to be different. It's going to be a place you've never been to before. But like we said earlier, you develop those fundamentals, you develop those core values, things that you can exercise in every season, no matter whether it's normal or not. And that way you can create an atmosphere that you're familiar with. Don't wait for an atmosphere to be already made that you're familiar with. Create an atmosphere that you're familiar with. What do you mean, Xavian? Okay, create an atmosphere where Thanksgiving is always something that you want to, exude. Create an atmosphere where thankfulness is something that you always want to exude. Create an atmosphere where a good financial budget is something that what happened there? A good financial budget is something that you always want to have in place. Create an atmosphere that allows for goodness and grace and all of these blessings and favor can actually be conducive to, okay? That's what we want to do. We want to be better creators of atmospheres in 2024 and going forth in the rest of our life. Okay, somebody said yes, because writing down my goals, big and small, has allowed me to keep up with what I have completed. This is very good too. And you'll learn this. I mean, many of you who are probably watching this, or maybe, I don't know. I don't want to categorize you or anything like that. SMART goals. If you've heard of SMART goals, raise your hand. Thank you. I've heard of SMART goals. You've heard of SMART goals. Okay, we're there. In case you haven't heard of SMART goals, right? This is just a way for you to actualize, to actually complete your goals in a correct manner, right? This is a way for you to set, what is it? Lord, I didn't say SMART goals, and I don't know. I cannot remember what the actual acronyms mean. But, timeliness, making sure that it's, here we go. Catching a brain fart. Just know, look it up. I'm not even going to explain it anymore. SMART goals. It's a way for you to actively track what's actually happening in your life. Write down those goals, though. I've actually come into the knowledge of writing things down more this year than I have of any other year. Write it down. I kid you not. Write it down. You want to be able to write these things down so that way it's infallible. right? It's never going to break. After it's written, you've spoken it, bam, it's out there. It either can happen or it can't happen. But you want to write it down because, it's a traceable, it's something that you can trace, right? You can say, okay, I remember what I was thinking. I remember what point in life I was, and I wrote that down. I'm writing things down now. I really feel you on that one. Writing down my goals. I started doing that this year, and I kid you not, I remember I wrote down one goal. Less than 48 hours later, that goal started to be in cycle, right? It started to happen. It started happening. So, I think writing down goals, something that it's just tap into that. Just tap into that. All right. Somebody said yes. 2024 has been going expected because God has been taking them higher and higher. And I love that mindset, right? That God is always taking us to new places. He's taking us to new heights. He's taking us to new depths, right? He's taking us to new. He's taking us to new. I said this last week. I was, actually this week, something. I said this last week somewhere. I was like, God is doing a new thing. Are we aware of it? That's what he says in his word. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Are you aware of it? Because God is always doing something new, but we're not always in place and position to receive the newness that he's doing, right? Take a moment to self-reflect with yourself, right? Am I aware of the new things that God is doing? Am I aware that, my 2024 has been filled with the same things? Is it because I just haven't been aware of the new things, right? God is doing new things. We just have to be aware of it. We just have to be aware of it. This is the last one right here. And when this person put no, I was actually I'm not going to say concerned, but I was in my head like, why did they put no? Like, here I am being nosy in my head. Why did they put no? But he put no, and this was his why not. He said his 2024 has not been going how he planned it to go because it's been going better. That one word right there, I kid you not, I read it, I was driving, and I almost drove off the road. Because when I tell you that is so good. Have you ever had expectations for something or for someone, for an event or something like that, and they exceed the expectations? And then you're in your head like, this is something I couldn't even think of. This is something I couldn't even imagine. It's better than what I asked for. I want to, oh Lord, here we go. Okay, let me just obey the Holy Spirit. I want to release that word to you. Better. For your plans, the ones you wrote down, better. There's better. And I love that he said that, right? That my 2024 has been going better than I planned it to. Because the question was very strategic. Has your 2024 been going anything like you planned? He said, no, it's been going better. Man, okay. Woo, Jesus. And that's going to really get me into our inspirational rant for today. And if you're new to the podcast, this is something that I do at the end of every episode because I want to provide you with some inspiration, something that you can hold on to for the rest of your week or whenever you're watching this, right? I want you to hold on to it and grasp a hold to it for the moment. And of course, if you know me, I'm just a little bit dramatic. So right here, 3, 2, 1, cue the music. Right here, I want to talk to you today, and I want to tell you, we were just talking about in our social media, cultural social media review right there. Someone said that their 2024 has not been going anything like they planned because it's been going better. My inspirational rant for the day is give up the life that you have planned in order to receive the life that is set for you. I know that we have a bunch of plans, we have a bunch, some of us, we're very anal about it. We have a set list, right? Or maybe you're a little bit like me, you're a little bit dysfunctional. You have things in place, but, there's room for, to breathe. Or maybe you just don't have any plans at all. But maybe you have a thought in your head. Be willing to let go of that. Be willing to let go of what you have planned in order to receive what is set for you. And this is what we were talking about earlier on. There are moments, there are seasons, there are times where God has this plan for us, but our mindset is here. So we have to allow and open up our minds, open up our thoughts, open up our thinkings for the more, for the better that is to come. Because if we keep it here, God will give us exactly what we desire. If our desires are here, bam, that's all he'll give you. That is literally all he'll give you, because it's all that you have faith to receive. But if you branch out and I know what it is, because sometimes in the past, we've thought this and we've only received this. And that's a very disheartening, oh Lord, I could go on and on and on about that. It's very disheartening to have your standards be up here, and this is where it comes in at. It's very disheartening. I will say it again, it is very disheartening. But my inspiration to you today, let go. Don't let go of your goals. Okay, let me not say that. Don't let go of your goals, but allow room in your goals for them to be exceeded. Okay, set a baseline, but don't let it be a hard baseline. Allow room for growth. Set a ceiling, but don't let it be a hard ceiling. Allow room for that ceiling to be shattered. You have to be able to let go. You have to be able to allow for room to be made for you. There's a scripture in the Bible that says that our gifts will make room for us. But nothing will ever make room for us if we don't have the faith for it. If we don't have the expectation that it can be done. We have to develop this mindset that, yes, I have my goals. Yes, I have these things written down. Yes, I've declared these things. Yes, I'm saving the money for this. But I'm believing that at any point in time, something supernatural can happen. At any point in time, the sower can overtake the reaper, right? If we're looking at sowing and reaping, right, the person who sows the seed is not always who reaps the seed. But what happened when the reaper overtakes the sower, right? And before you can even sow the next batch of new seeds, you're already reaping the harvest from it. That your head is going to swim. Things are going to be happening so fast. One thing fast on the heels of the other, right? Allow for room to receive the light that is already set for you versus the life that you already have planned for yourself. And you know, we can have conversations about, you got that man in mind, right? You got him in mind. He's 6'5", he chocolate, he got waves, or maybe he 5'11", light skin with dreads. I know what you like. You got that listed, you got it printed down. And I'm not saying to lower your standards, and I'm not saying to compromise. What I'm saying is allow for room for it to breathe. You never know what God might have for you. You never know what the next season wants to give you if you don't keep your options open to receiving what else can come from it. And of course, you know, we're not saying to accept every opportunity. I'm not saying to do anything of that. But always know, be willing to let go of the life, the plans that you have in order to receive the life that God has set for you, that is already set for you, okay? All right, cut the music right there. Yo, look, thank you so much for tuning in with me today. You know, the outro is going to come at the end, but I just cannot express my gratitude for the support, the way you all have hung with me, stuck with me, waited it out with me. Y'all have been so amazing to me, and I just cannot thank you enough. Look, the outro is going to play right here, but I love y'all. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week. Just know I love you, and God loves you too. Peace out, y'all. And that's a wrap, folks, for I Rant Too with Xavian D. Look, I hope you were able to find some insights and inspiration in what we discussed on today. Look, once again, if you're watching on your favorite podcast platform, if you like what you heard, go ahead and click that like button and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can keep up with all of our latest content. Look, I want to hear your voice. Leave a comment. Reach out to us on our social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook at I Rant Too with Xavian D. Look, always remember, get an inspiration, stay strong, stay vigilant, and don't ever forget this, keep ranting too. Y'all have an amazing day. Love y'all.